Morning tiptoed into Brindlewick village. Dew sparkled on the gardens, and a sleepy breeze slid between the rooftops. The windmill stood very still on its hill. Luna stepped outside with her lantern, even though the sun was up. She loved how the glass made little rainbows. Today the air felt quiet, like it was waiting. Kai hurried down the lane, and his tiny fox padded close, tail swishing. They both looked at the windmill on the hill. It usually hummed a gentle tune, but now it did not. The windmill's big wooden arms moved only a little. No soft humming floated down into the village. Even the sparrows seemed to listen and then tilt their heads. Luna noticed something strange near the fence. A tiny ribbon of shimmer drifted away, like a piece of song you could almost see. Her lantern glow warmed the wooden boards. Kai crouched and pointed at sparkling specks above the path. The fox sniffed and sneezed softly, whiskers twitching. The specks drifted onward, as if inviting them to follow. Luna and Kai stood together and watched the shimmer float toward the trees. They didn't need many words. They both wanted the windmill's lullaby back. They started down the lane, leaving the quiet village behind. Luna's lantern bobbed like a friendly firefly. The windmill watched from the hill, still and silent. The path turned sandy and soft under their shoes. Pine needles whispered above, and the shimmer ribbon stayed just ahead. The morning grew brighter and warmer with every step. Soon they reached Pinehush Footbridge. The creek beneath it sparkled and chuckled over stones. Sunlight danced on the water like tiny skipping coins. Luna and Kai walked onto the bridge, listening to the soft creak of each plank. The lantern made a bright in the creek below. The shimmer ribbon floated right over the water. Luna knelt and saw a little note shape shining near the railing. She carefully picked up a smooth silver-blue pebble that felt cool as creek water. She tucked it safely in her pocket. On the other side, Kai reached up and caught a drifting leaf. It gave a tiny hum, like a bedtime sound trying to wake up. The fox balanced proudly, watching the leaf wiggle. The creek kept singing its bubbly song, but the windmill's tune was still missing. The shimmer ribbon slipped away toward the trees. Reeds swayed as if waving them onward. They left the bridge and followed the trail into deeper green. Luna kept one hand near her pocketed pebble. Kai held the humming leaf carefully so it wouldn't tear. The path narrowed, and ferns brushed their knees. Sunbeams made bright stripes on the ground. They walked in an easy rhythm, listening to leaves rustle overhead. Thistlecap Woods opened around them, tall and friendly. Purple thistles nodded in the warm light. Dust motes drifted like tiny stars caught in daytime. They stepped under the trees, and everything smelled like moss and sun-warmed bark. Kai's leaf hummed a little louder here. Luna's lantern looked sleepy, but comforting. In a small clearing, the shimmer threads looped around an old stump. They twirled like ribbons in a slow dance. The forest felt as if it was holding its breath. Luna opened her lantern a crack, and warm light spilled out. She held the cool pebble near the glow. The shimmer threads tilted toward it, as if they remembered a song. Kai and the fox crossed a fallen log like a tiny bridge. The fox's paws made soft thumps on the wood. Kai kept the humming leaf safe and dry. Together they held their treasures close. The shimmer threads wove between the pebble and the leaf, making a gentle zigzag in the air. It sounded like a quiet mmm, almost a lullaby. They followed the shimmer ribbon as it slipped toward the sound of water. Shadows began to stretch a little longer under the trees. The day felt like it was turning toward afternoon. The trail grew grassy and soft again. They heard a brook ahead, quick and bright. A few slow clouds sailed across the blue sky. Bluebowl Brook bend shone under the bright sun. Blue pebbles made the water look like it held a piece of sky. The ripples glittered and winked. They walked to the edge and listened to the brook's quick music. The shimmer ribbon skimmed the water, then fluttered like it was stuck. Luna and Kai leaned in to see why. A little whirlpool spun around a bundle of tangled reeds. The shimmer threads were caught inside, dim and tired. The water bubbled as if it was trying to cough them free. Luna held her lantern close so the light could guide them. Kai reached in slowly and gently, careful not to splash too much. The brook tickled their hands with cool, clean water. Kai's fox helped by tugging a reed free with tiny teeth. Kai steadied the bundle and laughed quietly with relief. The reed slipped out, and the whirlpool loosened. In the clear water, Luna found a little golden shell shaped like a curled note. It was slick and cold, and it shone when her lantern light touched it. She held it carefully, letting the drops fall back into the brook. Freed at last, the shimmer threads lifted into the air like happy ribbons. They drifted toward pale rocks in the distance. The sun began to feel softer, like it was leaning toward evening. Luna tucked the golden shell close, and Kai kept the humming leaf in his hand. The shimmer ribbon pointed toward the rocky terraces. They nodded, ready for the next part. They left the brook behind, and its sparkling sound grew quiet. Stones crunched under their feet. The breeze smelled like dry grass and sun-warmed earth. The path began to climb. Shadows stretched longer across the ground, and the light turned honey gold. Ahead, pale stone walls waited like a giant staircase. Glimmerbell Quarry spread wide and quiet, with steps carved by old work long ago. Crystal flecks winked in the slanting light. The wind made gentle echoes that bounced from wall to wall. They stepped into the quarry, and the air felt cool against their cheeks. Luna's lantern looked brighter here. High above, the shimmer threads gathered on a ledge like a tangled bough. On the ledge, something wooden was wedged in a crack. It looked like a small gear from the windmill, stuck tight. The shimmer threads were snagged around it, unable to fly home. They climbed the stone steps slowly, one at a time. Luna's lantern lit the rough places where hands could grip. Kai moved carefully, keeping the humming leaf safe. Below, Kai's fox found a wedge-shaped stone and nudged it over. Kai picked it up, feeling its smooth edge. It was just the right tool to pry something loose without breaking it. Luna held the lantern close so she could see into the crack. She placed the wedge gently, her hands calm and careful. The crystals around her glittered like tiny bells. Kai pressed the wedge, and Luna steadied the little wooden gear. The gear shifted with a soft creak. The shimmer threads trembled, ready to spring free. With one last careful wiggle, the gear came free. Luna caught it gently, holding it against her lantern. The shimmer threads burst upward, bright and happy again. The quarry filled with moving light as the shimmer threads flew away. The sky was turning peach and pink. Luna and Kai looked down at the village direction, ready to return what they had found. They walked down the terraces, step by step. Luna carried the wooden gear, and Kai kept the humming leaf. The light grew warmer, and the quarry echoes faded behind them. A grassy ridge led them homeward. The breeze felt like a soft hand on their backs. Above, the sky glowed like warm peach milk. Hushlight Windmill Hill welcomed them in golden sunset. Wildflowers nodded along the path. The windmill stood dark against the glowing sky, still waiting for its song. They hurried up the hill, shoes brushing through soft grass. Luna held the gear close, and Kai carried the leaf like a precious feather. The windmill's wooden door creaked as they reached it. Inside the windmill, it smelled like wood and old flour. Dust floated in the lantern light, slow and sleepy. Luna placed the gear where a gap waited, and it fit perfectly. Kai held the humming leaf near the wooden frame, and the little golden shell shone beside it. The leaf's hum grew steadier, like it found its place. Outside, the wind began to rise. The shimmer thread slipped in through cracks and twirled around the gears. Luna's lantern glow warmed the air, and the pieces seemed to wake up. Slowly, the windmill blades began to turn again. Outside, the windmill spun with a gentle whoosh. A soft humming floated down the hill, wrapping the village in comfort. The wildflowers swayed, and the whole hill seemed to smile. Luna and Kai sat in the grass to listen. The hum was slow and kind, like a blanket settling. The sky's bright colors began to dim, and the first coolness of evening arrived. Luna looked at the small treasures they had gathered. The silver blue pebble and golden shell glowed softly beside the lantern. They felt like tiny pieces of the lullaby itself. Twilight drifted in, turning the sky purple blue. A few stars blinked awake above the windmill. Down in the village, window lights began to twinkle like friendly fireflies. They started down the hill, and Luna's lantern became the brightest light nearby. The windmill kept humming behind them, steady and sure. The evening air smelled like grass and warm wood. The cobblestones shone under the lantern glow as they walked. The village was calm, with doors closed and curtains drawn. The windmill's lullaby followed them like a soft song in the air. Brindlewick Village looked cozy in the evening light. Warm windows glowed, and the windmill turned gently on its hill. Above, more stars sprinkled across the sky. They stopped by a garden gate where flowers still held a little dew. Luna's lantern made a soft circle of light on the petals. Kai's shoulders relaxed, and he looked happily tired. Kai reached his home, and the fox curled at his feet like a tiny orange pillow. He placed the humming leaf on the windowsill where it could hear the windmill. The leaf's hum softened into a quiet purr. Luna stepped into her cottage and set her lantern on a table. She placed the silver blue pebble and golden shell in a little wooden dish. They glimmered softly, like bedtime wishes. The room was warm and snug, with a quilt folded neatly on the bed. The curtains moved just a little with the night breeze. Far away, the windmill hummed its gentle lullaby. Luna sat on her bed and felt the day sink out of her feet. The lantern light was small and cozy now. The little treasures on the table seemed to glow goodnight. Outside, the moon rose above the hill. The windmill turned slowly, humming like a kind giant.